Today, drama means unfinished business, drama means sleepwalking, and drama means stalking you until it wears you down.
Drama means piercing, movie shows and all between. Laughs and talks every day with Melody, Ryan, come and play.
Hi, today we're going to talk about the 2025 Chinese drama, The First Frost.
And first, a little summary. Yifan reconnects with her high school crush after the two had a very bitter parting of ways. Despite the baggage between them, the two find themselves sharing an apartment and start to rediscover the feelings they once had. But before they can ever hope to be happy together, Yifan must face a lifetime of trauma she has been constantly running from.
Yeah, so I think everyone knows that I'm a huge Ting fan.
Everyone knows this.
And And the thing is, both actors have done really well in this. And I think, because earlier there was like a little bit of a weird scandal type thing where like Ting was supposedly a little bit canceled.
Okay.
Or he lost a ton of fans because like people said he was like alpha dogging some other like singer person and trying to steal the stage or something. But yeah, we're not going to get into the scandal or anything. So I was a little worried that like his popularity was like kind of dropping
in the dumps.
Yeah, pretty much. But this, drama, it like revived his career and he's like became like the hottest guy.
I mean, I think he's very charming.
He is.
And I think as a lead, he's very like captivating. Like you always watch him in scenes. Like you're not looking for someone else. He does feel like the star of every scene he's in. So it makes perfect sense. I understand like the attraction.
Yeah. But with that said, I'm a little disappointed in this drama. I don't know if it's because I had really high expectations. I'm, like, as I said, Ting does well in every drama he does. So I expected this to be very good. And of course, being the prequel to Hidden Love, you have a certain, amount of expectations going into this. And then the trailer made it so, like, angsty and sad that I was just like, oh, yeah, emotions. That's for me.
Well, they're dealing with a lot of deep kind of thematics with, dealing with trauma and, sexual assault and just different things that are pretty dark in this. So it's not like one of those you watch and it's like chipper, feel good type drama. Like this one is a little dark and angsty.
Yeah. And with so much trauma, it's really hard to, convey what has happened and still get, the romance out and, and not make it like so overbearingly sad where like you just don't want to watch it anymore.
Yeah, I think that's where this one was hard for me. Like I didn't enjoy watching it that much. Like forget its high or low points as a drama and as a story. Just the enjoyment I got from watching it wasn't all that high, which then I have to overlook that and go, okay, well then it better be really interesting, really dramatic, really well acted, well shot. Everything like that has to mean so much more.
Yeah. And it was well acted. It's just that I think the drama itself felt very uneven in terms of like your leads are on screen almost the whole time. Their side characters it doesn't really service the side characters to the point where you're like, why did the side characters even exist?
I kept thinking that. They didn't service them enough to make you want a story from them. So either give them a real story and let us care about them, or just cut them. Like, just have them be interested in our main character's story, and they don't need their own thing. Because every time we cut to their own thing, it was, oh yeah, right, they're in the show.
Yeah, it felt really put on. And it's just, I feel like their characters were like almost like an afterthought.
Oh, complete afterthought.
Yeah. So it's just very uneven. in that aspect, it's not enjoyable either. And for me, I love it when like the main characters have like a group of friends that always like supports them and like is understanding and just, there for them. And the thing is with this, those characters exist, and the words that always come out of their mouths is I care about you a lot and I'm always there for you. But what we see is like this surface, like, doesn't even really feel like they're friends.
Yeah.
And so I just don't think since they didn't spend the time to build the relationships these friends are to the main leads, it doesn't really feel like they are friends at all.
And I liked the guy that played his partner at the bar, like his kind of buddy. Like I liked that actor, and I'm like, oh, this could be really good. I think if they were actually given material, there might be some ensembleness to this that would have worked. And instead, you just kind of got, melodrama and very, the trauma of these two and their relationship. And then anytime we cut away from it, it just felt like you can fast forward all of this and it will not matter. You won't miss a thing. And you could tell they were trying to make that plotline a little lighter. So, like, I get it, but, if you're going to, like, step up to that plot, you just have to really commit the screen time with it. Because otherwise it's going to feel like an afterthought. I think people do that with side characters a lot. They go, oh, well, we have room for 3 scenes in this episode for our side characters. If that's all you've given yourself, then you might as well not have them.
Yeah. That's why I feel like a lot of the side characters or even your main characters feel a little one-dimensional.
Well, I think all of them are one-dimensional. I think every character, which is sad because I do feel like all these actors can play nuance. They just really don't. They kind of just play their thing. He likes her. She has a traumatized past and is a little, I want to say lethargic. I don't know how to describe melancholy, I guess, is how she plays every single scene. And I get it. We're showing someone going through, hard times. But at the same time, it felt like she was kind of zonked out the whole show. And it felt like there could have been levels there they could have discovered.
Yeah, I feel like, albeit she has gone through so much trauma and it has really affected her and how she accepts people around her.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like she's still a functional, working adult. And the way she interacts with most people feels very put on as well, like just insincere and inorganic. And I understand like people react to trauma and like deal with trauma differently. It just felt like that's all that was to her. Like there's nothing else to her other than, she's suffered trauma.
Well, it's kind of like she's disassociated from all of life equally, which isn't really possible in real life. Like, you can't just disassociate from every aspect of your life. Trauma, to me at least, when it's portrayed well, is how it rears its ugly head at the most inopportune times. And what are the triggers for your trauma? Because it's not everything. Like, you don't go to Subway and have a sandwich and cry into your sandwich necessarily, unless that somehow triggers your trauma in a specific way. But she's just kind of mopey and disassociated, and that's just how they kind of played. Like, oh yeah, she's traumatized, she's mopey and disassociated. It would have been so much better if we would have seen her go from happiness to tears in a moment. That it's like, oh man, she was so happy 2 seconds ago, and this is the person that he loves. Like, look how cool she is. Oh no, she can't escape this thing that's dragging her back into her past. I would feel for her so much more.
Yeah. This is probably one of the biggest things that really made me mad, and I feel like they should have showed something where, okay, her personality, she doesn't stand up for herself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times she feels like, oh, she's not worth, his affection, or she, has self-esteem issues, whatever it is,
well,
right?
also from like an abuser's situation, like you stand up for yourself and you get punched harder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so a lot of times I totally get that trauma response of, well, if I stick up for myself, like the nail that sticks out gets hammered down even farther.
Yeah. But I do think that they should have showed the contrast of how she reacts when someone, talks bad about her or like is not nice to her, and when someone talks bad about Sangyin,
Right.
right? Because, as we've seen in flashbacks, with her high school life, Sangyin has always been the one that was with her, the one by her side whenever she was the most distraught, whenever she was, abused or beaten or starving because she didn't have enough money. Like Sangyin's always the one that comes and like saves the day, right? And so when someone means that much to you and that you have such strong feelings for, when it's your closest friend talking shit about him and saying like he's, like all the rumors about him or whatever, or some rando guy that's like hitting on you and talking shit about him, like there should be something that triggers like, don't talk shit about the person that means the most to me, that
Yeah.
is like the most important person in my life. You better not fucking even touch on that nerve. But she never, like, she just lets people like, misunderstand him and like literally talk shit about him.
Well, she
And
also lets them think the worst of him, even when she knows it's not true or it's just a rumor, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you know what? I heard about this guy," and she could easily be like, "Well, that's not true," but she doesn't.
yeah. And I just don't like, there should be something like, because of their relationship and how much he means to her, she and the reason, one of the reasons why she breaks it off with him is she's kind of put him on this pedestal, right? Almost like a higher than herself position. So when he is in that position, like it is natural for you to get really mad at someone disrespecting that person.
The thing I kept thinking about it is she is treating him like, to him, she seems like she doesn't like him, right? She's keeping on this facade. But she doesn't have to keep that facade up when he's not around or let other people keep the facade. It's kind of like, hey, I'm allowed to hate my brother, but you better not talk shit about my family.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to hate my family. You're not allowed to talk back because that's my blood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she never trends on his side. And so, like, she let this whole facade creep into allowing these other things to be said about him, which just feels then mean.
Yeah.
So, like, I get how she's protecting herself with him, but then when he's not around, she's just kind of a jerk. Like, that's just kind of mean. Like, oh yeah, no, that's yeah. I'm not gonna say anything. You guys are just totally defaming another person and talking shit about him, and oh, we don't want to go to the bar because he's such a jerk and he's there. It's like, actually, he's done nothing but love me and be great to me my whole life.
Yeah. So that really irritated me, because first of all, they're your friends. You're allowed to say like, you're allowed to treat them like your friends. I know supposedly her character like doesn't let anyone know anything about her and cuts her friends out from her, like life, but that doesn't mean you can't say, "Hey, stop talking about people you don't even know about." Like that's not something that is letting people into your life. That's like standing up for someone that has always been on your side. So that,
Even if they would have just picked a line that like her friends crossed at some point.
yeah.
And it's like, wait, okay, you guys can like gossip, but now it's getting like badgering, and I'm not okay with that. Just somewhere draw a line.
Yeah. And so like eventually like she just lets, her character is always like, oh, she lets like everyone just say whatever, and finally like at the end maybe she'll say like a little line that's so weak and like not like, it's just not powerful enough to get across that she's actually a really strong character.
Mm-hmm.
I have never read the original book of this, but the book is the same author as, the book that Hidden Love was based off of, also the same author of When I Fly Towards You. And the thing with this author, she writes really like strong female lead characters. The women like always have a backbone. They never let like people walk all over them. And I think they tried to kind of show this with Wen Yifan's character, but think I think they changed it so much that that character is so different from the book. And I heard that, the fans of the book was complaining because they changed her character in the drama to be like really weak and not strong, like the author had intended. And then also when Sang Yin and Wen Yifan met in high school, like they said that when they met, it was like really weird because like in this whole school of a bunch of people, she randomly had to ask him specifically like where her classroom was.
Well, he was like dribbling the basketball on the steps weirdly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so weird and awkward. Well, in the book, they were both in an empty hallway and he was the only one that she could have asked.
Right.
Right. And that's how they met. So it was just like things like that where like the drama really changed it to be like kind of doesn't make sense. And, the characters are like a lot weaker. So as we've seen before in like When I Fly Towards You and Hidden Love, both Sangji and I can't remember When I Fly Towards You's female lead character name, but like they're both very like strong, and they are like they're not afraid to like say what they're thinking. They're not afraid to like stand up for themselves. And I just feel like in this case, this drama, they changed her character for the worse.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like they made a choice for her to play the character a certain way, and that was very traumatized, like we said already, disassociated, very meek. Like she finally stands up to herself with her family, but it literally takes like 3 scenes of kind of the exact same thing of her yelling at her mom and aunt and all these people. Like it takes so many scenes for her to stand up for herself. It never feels like a moment. It never feels like, there we go, now she's come out of her shell, because it kind of just gets regressive right afterwards again.
Yeah. And also like in the work atmosphere too, when like everyone's like talking about how like she was like using her feminine wiles to have affairs with coworkers or higher ups or whatever, and she like never stands up for herself. And when she does stand up for herself, it didn't feel like her speech or what she was saying was strong enough, and it also still felt like whatever, like it wasn't a powerful scene anymore. Like it was just, I don't know, whatever it was in this drama, I just don't think it really worked. And I don't think it really conveyed what the book was trying to convey and like the story that it wanted to tell.
Yeah, I mean, one of the words that comes to mind for a lot of the emotions in this is inorganic. It feels like we need her to be melancholic. We need him to be in love with her. And doting on her. But the why, and I get it, she's traumatized in a very general way. And I do want to say that, not trying to be insensitive, because people do process trauma differently, and some people do disassociate completely. But I do think there's a difference between trauma in real life and how you portray trauma on television that makes it interesting to watch. Like, this has to still be a drama that we watch and we interact with. So a lot of people are like, oh, it's so authentic. This thing is so authentic to me. Well, it still has to entertain, and it still has to draw me in. And so, not saying that people's trauma can't be this way, but for the drama, it felt like a weird choice. And it did make all of the character motives and all of the character emotions feel just a little meh. Like, it's my descriptive word.
I don't actually remember what I was watching when I made this comment to Ryan before. I think we're in the middle of watching First Frost and something else, and I was watching it, and I'm like, see, this is like when you feel the person feeling and they're going through trauma and you're also feeling it. Whereas I felt like First Frost, it was very like put on and it was like, let me show you how sad I am.
Right.
You have to feel just as sad as me. So I'm going to, like, jam it down your throat that I'm sad, and it's just, it, again, as we said before, inorganic, and we're the audience and we're like supposed to feel, their sadness. And honestly, I didn't really feel it because I think it was very like fake.
Yeah. And I think I'm going to date myself with this term because these don't really exist anymore, but it felt very after school special version of emotions, not like a grown up adult, you know, emotional piece of filmmaking or television. It felt like that kind of don't do drugs, kids, and here's the message of the week. And you're like, this is what it's like to be sad. And you're like, okay, if you say so.
Yeah.
Can I also just, this is a question I asked over and over and over again while we were watching. Why does this dude like her? Like, like she has no real, like, just forget that you know her backstory. Forget that we've gone along with her character. If you met her, she is like hanging out with a wet mop. Why does he like her?
So here's the thing. I understand that when you're in high school and you see a person and you're attracted to them and then you like them and then all of a sudden in your head you love them. But what it all ultimately comes down to is he thinks she's pretty, and that's why he was so enamored and just so in love with her. Yes, they had interactions and they were friends and they studied together, and supposedly they argued that she was really good for him because she because of her he decided to study. So, but anyway, it's just like the only thing that I can think of why he was so in love with her is because she's pretty. And it's all just about looks and the outside. And I'm not really sure, like, there was not enough interaction between them where, like, they had such a deep love.
No. It
You
was,
know?
she was pretty, and then she was sad, and then so she's a little puppy dog now. It's like, oh, the pretty sad puppy dog. Let me make it right. And then that was kind of all of it. But like, I don't even know if they ever really dig into his psychology of like, why is he a fixer of her? Like, why does he feel the need to take care of sad puppies? Other than just in general, we should all want to take care of sad puppies.
Yeah, something about like each male character in these books like represent a love language, and his is like acts of service or something like that.
Also, love languages are bullshit, but that's another podcast.
Whatever it is.
Everyone likes acts of service. That's not a love language. That's just being nice to each other. We all like that.
Anyway, so supposedly that was his thing, but yeah, I guess if you really say like, oh, he witnessed how sad and how hard her life is, and then he just wants to take home a stray.
Yeah, I just wish if you're going to do that, make that also part of his backstory of, he was a stray that was taken in, so he feels that he needs to take in
But he's
strays.
not. He's from a loving family.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's where this just comes out of left field. If they would build it into his character to make it like, oh, why does he like to take home strays? Is there a reason? Is there a why to the reason this character is this way? Not really, just he is.
Well, people argue that because he is from a very loving family, and that both he and his sister take home strays, because Tuan Jashri also had some some trauma, but the thing is, Sanjin actually has like reasoning behind why she likes Donjashu.
Yeah, I can't follow it. Like, they just do because they do, and that's what the story needs. There's no real, like, again, if you say so, that there's some sort of familial, but like character motivations are fucking important.
Yeah. So, but the real motivation behind Sungyeon's love is looks. As shallow as that sounds, that is exactly what it is. She's pretty, and so he loves her.
One thing we talked about last week was our perfect husband material characters. We each did our own top 3. And my list was far superior. But
bullshit.
But there is a version where Sangyeon is in that conversation, maybe. I mean, the way he dotes on her, the way that he's absolutely devoted to her. Like, he, like, outfits their apartment so when she's sleepwalking in one of her 25 sleepwalking scenes that she doesn't, smack her head. He's very thoughtful to her. Like, but you didn't put him on your list. I mean, either did I. But I thought he was going to make your list.
There are a lot of reasons why I didn't put him on my list. And one main thing is he's a fucking stalker.
Listen, if they're good looking, it's not stalking.
It's so weird to me.
TV has taught us this.
It is so weird to me that, like, nowadays, like, stalking is fucking romantic. And, we keep talking about, like, oh, stalker, mentality is so toxic and all this stuff. And we complain about stalking and all that stuff. And then here we are worshiping this guy and thinking he's so romantic, even though he literally stalks her.
Follows her home over and over again.
Yeah, and then, follows her to a whole nother town when she moves to a whole nother town, follows her and always, like, lurking in the bushes, watching her at college, and, and, I mean, yes, he didn't harm her, thank goodness, but it is just a very, like, you're arguing that he's so in love with her that, like, he's checking on her, but, like, also, like, stalking her and pretending to be someone else online so they play video games together. It's just, like, if he's not your male lead, and if he's, like, it's kind of fucking scary and how, like, vulnerable you are. Like, if I were Wen Yifan and I found out that he's just, like, lurking everywhere, I would be really scared.
I don't remember the video game thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I blocked that out. Because it's too creepy.
Yeah, so I don't really remember how he found her, but they went by their screen names. I'm not sure how he knew it was her to begin with, but they played video games, right? And then at one point she kind of stopped playing, and then he was like all worried, like she's not playing the video game anymore, and it's actually like the game that I don't know if he likes, like, it's the reason why he went into, like, gaming, like design and stuff.
Is it this show? I don't remember any of this.
Yeah, for sure it's the show. But anyway, it's just like all this stuff that's just like very stalker mentality.
Well, it's definitely creeper. I mean, again, I joke and I say this, but, like, I've had conversations in the writer's room with men and women about how, well, whoa, if this guy wasn't good looking in this scene, y'all would be creeped out and not pitching this as a romantic thing.
Yeah.
And I have cornered people to the point where they have to admit, yeah, no, I know you're right, but it's still romantic to me, even though it's super stalkery. And it just shows you the fine line between, romantic comedy and horror movie. So, but I do think we can get out of, the characters that follow you home. Let's not do those.
Yeah. And I understand, like, we've all been young before, and when you're young, you don't really, like, you get obsessed with something and then you do dumb shit, like always drive by someone's home to see if, like, maybe you catch a glimpse of them, like, hanging outside with their friends, whatever, right?
Or you know where someone hangs out, so then you and your friends go hang out there.
Yeah, like
that's like adolescent behavior.
Yeah, which is like, I feel like we've all done that, but like to his extent, it's really, really scary. And the only reason why it's not is because he's your male lead, the protagonist. He is good looking, and they set it up in the beginning that she's supposed to end up with him. So if you really think about it and like say you're, going through life and someone is always watching you and you don't really know, but like that's like really creepy.
I agree. So one question I had for you, because I really didn't watch all of Hidden Love, but did you find the kind of crossover character cameos in this satisfying at all? Because obviously I can't find it satisfying. I didn't have any connection to those characters. But as a viewer, and I think you kind of liked Hidden Love.
I did. I liked Hidden Love a lot.
So did you find that how they brought the characters from that across satisfying, or just kind of like just cheap fan service so that we understand that it's...
It was interesting. The only thing is, because Zhao Lucy and Chen Zhiyuan, they're like, it's kind of their iconic roles at this point, because Hidden Love was so popular. To see other actors play those roles, it felt weird.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really awkward in Hidden Love because you see Sangji as a child when Chen Zhiyuan just looks like Chen Zhiyuan, right?
Uh-huh.
So it was really weird to know that they're gonna at some point be a couple because she's so much younger than him. And honestly, in the story, I think they're only 4 or 5 years apart, age wise. So it's not like that big of an age gap, but it is very jarring when you see a child.
Well, it's a big age gap when you're young.
Yes.
Like, there's a massive age gap from 16 to 11.
Yes.
But, like, 40 to 45, not that big of a deal.
Yes.
So, I get it. It's definitely perception.
So, it just felt really weird. So, a lot of people had issues with it. So, to combat that
weirdness,
they made the Duanjiaxu in First Frost younger, right? His looks, at least, and the actor is younger. And then Sang, so that they were more like, they felt more matched visually. The only thing is, that's not their character.
Right.
He literally is the same age as her older brother, and so it makes sense that like the thing is, the actor definitely does not look like the same age as Bai Jingting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it just was off. But when it came, like, it was the cute moment where it's like their friend's wedding, where Sang Yan and Duanjiaxu and Sangzhi were all at this wedding banquet, right? And it's really where Duanjiaxu and Sangzhi's relationship really starts, and they, like, I believe that night they become an actual couple, right? So, or not really. I think it's more like he realizes that, oh yeah, she really does like me, and so that part was kind of interesting because like it felt so like nonchalant, but then secretly that like a lot of shit's happening, like between those two. And so it kind of brings those moments back. So that part was kind of fun. The other parts where, like, Sangji goes and visits Sang Yan and all that stuff, it's just kind of like, you don't really, that's not, it
doesn't affect much.
It doesn't affect much. The main part was the wedding banquet. And I thought that was a cute little, it was done relatively well.
Yeah, I was going back and forth in my mind, like if I was making for all intents and purposes, it's a spin-off, right? Or it's not really a sequel because it's the different
prequel.
Well, it's not the characters from the first one. It's different characters, so it's kind of spinning off this story, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't get the leads from my original because they're massive, and of course you're not getting them to just kind of hang out for 3 scenes and go away.
Yeah.
I struggle in my mind if I would do it at all.
Yeah.
Like, if I can't have them, is there creative ways that you can bring them up and mention them so you keep their idea alive? But the second, like you say, someone else pops in and goes, "Hi, I'm that character," and it's not the actor that I love and know from that, it takes me out of it as a viewer. And so, I don't know, if it was my show, I think I may have just avoided it completely and just, no, trust us. These are the characters. They're off in another city. They talk on the phone once every 4 episodes, so we remind ourselves, but like, that's not worth anything to me because it does take me out of this particular story. And not even in a good way, because I don't get the star power of these other actors coming into my show.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't really think, like, I think Sangyan could be a good husband. I'm not saying he's not. Is he like the perfect husband material, like before he is your actual husband? Maybe not.
Yeah, fair.
That's where like the line is like, yes, when he becomes your husband, he probably would be the perfect husband.
Unless he still has those stalker tendencies, so every time you're out with the girls, he's literally waiting in the bushes, his binoculars across the street, and he's still a creeper, even if he is your husband.
True. And also, he's very jealous. I think a lot of times, like, I have a hard time, like, I understand, like, getting a little, like, iffy if, like, someone kind of comes in, but, like, when he gets pretty jealous, albeit that like most hated character
the creepy
ever.
Intern guy?
Yeah, the creepy intern.
God, I wanted to off with his head.
I was like, I kept saying, Ryan, it's not that kind of show.
Chop his head off. Behead him, Emperor.
Yeah, so I understand his jealousy, and that guy was really annoying, but also that pissed me off because, like, when you find, like, just let him kind of walk all over again, like, come on, like literally just say, hey, you're making me feel really uncomfortable. I don't want you to talk to me in this fashion.
Well, that character was just so overly, like, it was written in a way that no human behaves to me.
Yeah.
Like, he was just so over the top annoying. And then when she would be like, no, I'm not really feeling it. Yes, you are. Here, I'll just come into your house and make myself at home. You're like, dude, who behaves like this?
I know. Like, that moment where he just shows up at their home, like, I was like, bitch, I'm about to deck him.
I throw him off the balcony, for sure. There's no way you come prancing into my house talking about I'm moving in when you're done. Like, I don't even care if I'm, like, involved with the roommate at that point. You're treading in my personal space. I don't know you. Get out.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I think we're getting off trail, but...
I mean, we're not. We're talking about the drama.
I just don't like that guy.
Yeah. Anyway, but he is, like, literally the most hated character in the whole show. Like, in comments-wise, literally everyone hates him. But he's just...
That was the purpose of the show. I mean...
That was his purpose, but I'm wondering how he was actually written in the book, because I'm like, why would anyone write this character so, like...
I just don't know what they're trying to accomplish. Like, they're trying to accomplish, I guess, showing that Sangyan's jealous and that she's, like, fending off this other suitor, but he's never an option for her because he's such a creepoid. I mean, isn't it better if he's, even for a millisecond, we're like, oh, maybe she'll like this guy. Maybe that'll be something. Like, could there be one redeeming quality about this motherfucker?
No.
No, not a single one. Just nails on chalkboard every time he entered a scene.
Yeah.
Literally made me physically ill to see him on screen.
Yeah.
I don't feel that way about many characters.
Yeah, it was really, like, a bad choice. But, yeah, because we never thought of him as any kind of plausible, like, love obstacle. But...
And also, like, if at any point she would have turned to him and go, you know what? You're right. We would have hated her.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing to be gained by this character because you would make us hate everyone.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what? He's right about what?
Yeah. And yet again, she's just always standing there letting them spout their bullshit without at all ever stepping in and say, hey, I know him really well and you know nothing about him.
Well, wet mops don't stick up for themselves.
No.
Or for other people either.
Anyway.
I get what you're saying.
Anyway. Can I also, like, I'm gonna go totally off the rails, but I'm gonna talk shit about, her other friend, Jai Xiaowen's character. The guy with glasses.
Oh, yeah, that creep boy, too. All the dudes in this show are creeps.
But it was so weird because supposedly the three of them were the three musketeers in high school, and they're like such good friends, right? Yet they know nothing about her. And I know she closes herself off, and so, but I'm like, they're fucking your friends, man. Like, what the hell? But also, like, he harbored feelings for her, which I understand, whatever, right? But like, when the other girl confesses to him, and then, like, the way he handled that situation was so, like, neither of you are actually my friends. Like, it's such bullshit. Like, his character was so unnecessary. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell, like, they were doing. And why did they even cast Jai Xiaowan? Like, he's, like, another, like, male lead material. Like, why this character that's barely in it at all? Like, you guys all went to the same high school with Sangyan and Wanifan, and there's still, like, you don't know anything that went between them? Like, you didn't even know the fact that they fucking were, like, supposedly had an early dating scandal? Like, it was so weird to me, and I'm like, this makes no sense.
No, he was also a creep. I'm like recounting it now. Every single male character, maybe with the exception of like the bar owner dude, because he doesn't do anything that flagrantly creepy.
Yeah.
But like all the dudes in this are creepy AF. All of them. You have stalkers, and you have like the nerdy like, oh, I've always liked you, and I've been sniffing your hair since the 5th grade. Like, he's so creepy. Like, who does, like, the girl's like, I really like you, and he's like, I'm sorry, I don't like you. And then he turns to the other girl and confesses his love in front of her.
That is so disrespectful.
I was like, what a dick.
It was so disrespectful, and, like, literally that is not how you deal with anything like that. Like, it was as if, like, you know, the director's like, oh, well, Zai Xiaowen has to leave set, like, in 2 minutes, and we have to do the confession scene. So let's just do it all here at the table and not do another scene. You know, it was so bad. Like, everything about that was so bad and ridiculous. If either of, and then, like, also, like, what did he think was gonna happen? Like, she just witnessed her best friend confess to you, and then you turn around and confess to me. Like, am I gonna be like, yeah, let's fucking get married tomorrow? Like, no one's gonna do that. She's my best friend. I'm not gonna go take her man that she liked.
Well, it's from his autobiography called How to Piss Women Off and Die Alone.
So, I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm like, who fucking wrote this? And I'm like, you can't be the author because, like, the last 2 things that she wrote was fucking great.
I don't doubt what you're saying. I mean, you said it a little bit like tongue-in-cheek there, but like, we have one day to shoot with this actor because he's really busy, and so, hey, we'll just like meld these 2 scenes together without realizing what you're actually doing to the characters. Like, oh yeah, it's no problem. We just take these 2 scenes and kind of mush them together. Like, we did that on set all the time. You're running out of time, and you're like, you know what? Instead of them going in the house and then going into the backyard, everything will just happen in the house. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, oops, we've written a really bad scene now that we've mushed them together. Maybe that's it. Or they thought maybe this moment would play for comedy or something. I don't know, because it was weird and bad. But yeah, that guy ain't getting any action. Like, you know, behaving this way. Guys, don't do it. Don't do that.
Yeah.
What not to do.
Yeah. So, I guess we should rate it.
Are we to the I think we're to the rating section of the episode. Yes.
Yeah. I'm kind of on the fence. I'm a little bit like stepping out to get fresh air and then a little bit of land sickness. Um, I think the reason I would say stepping out for fresh air is like because Bai Jingting's acting is so good, and also Zhang Ronan is good too. I can't see really much else there is to take away from it other than the acting.
I think it's fair.
Yeah.
I think land sickness. And I think it is because it doesn't feel like the characters are fully developed. Like from your one note leads to your side characters that aren't given anything interesting to do to what we just covered with Creepy Man's terrible confession. Like it didn't feel like they put all that much care into these characters. And we were just talking about this the other day, like how important the why is. Why are these characters doing the things they're doing? And it felt like the only thing they cared about was kind of servicing her trauma, which is important, but it kind of felt like the only thing that they even remotely cared about, and I don't think they paid enough attention to it to make it good. So land sickness for me.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with stepping out for fresh air. And that one bump up is just for Bai Jingting, I'm not gonna lie.
So not a hugely recommended series by either of us.
Yeah. So I'm gonna recommend another manga. Is that like too much manga-iness?
Can you ever have too much manga-iness? I love that word, by the way. Manga-iness.
Yeah.
Patent pending.
Anyway, it is called Lethal Dose of Romance. You do have characters that also have gone through some trauma and trying to find love out of the darkness of trauma. So, yeah.
So check that wherever mangas are sold.
Yeah. Lethal Dose of Romance.
And that does it for this week for the Drama Means podcast. Make sure you're checking us out on all the platforms where all the podcasts are and our Instagram at Drama Means _podcast. We're doing little shorts and dumb things there, so make sure you're checking it out, following there. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for listening.